Hello. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use Firebase database. Basically, what I want to use it for today is to store my tweets. I'm going to be using a tweet component which I created in React to show how powerful Firebase is and how effective it is, like real-time database. You get a real-time database, not like this loading. It's not async. It's nothing like that. It's not like you're sending a get request and there's a post request and all that. No, this gives you an instant database. Basically, when I create a tweet and I want to tweet, and it's going to send my tweet straight to my database, and it's being stored there, and I'm going to pull my data from the database, and it's going to be displayed here. So it jumps right there. As I click tweet, it does two things. One, it takes the data straight to the database, and it calls it straight and appears on my application right here. So let's get to it, guys. Right now, this is not functional. This is not functional at all. Nothing is functional here. So it's just a front-end data, front-end design. Nothing is effective here, efficient, nothing whatsoever. So we're going to create everything right from the start. So let's get to it. This is my code right here on the left hand. So I'm going to go to my app.js. So the first thing I want to do here is what? To make my input functional. So I'm going to go straight to my input, which I have on line 12, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to add something to it. I'm going to say on click, on change rather, not on click, on change. I want you to do something. Please render this function or carry out this functionality, which is what undo. I'm going to name that functionality. I will have done an inline JavaScript here, but I just want it for clarity purpose. I just want to do it outside of it so that you can understand what we're really doing here. So I'm going to say undo change. So I'm going to copy that. That is the function I want to perform when you make a change to this input. So I'm going to come right before the return statement, and I'm going to say const. I'm going to declare a variable, and this time around is the functional variable, and I'm going to write the ex6. So what do I want this to do? Basically, what do I want this to do? I want this to take whatever I type here and save it in the value of that input. Every input always has a value, right? So that is what I want to achieve with that. So I'm going to say it this way. So I'm going to say here, let's even console log what we get. There's going to be an event, so I'm going to pass in an argument here, which is what? An event, and I'm going to say event dot. Okay, maybe we should even console log the event dot target. Let's console log what we get. So I can say console.log my event. Okay, let's even start with my event. Let's see what is going to happen. So once I save and I go to my application, so right click here to inspect. I go to console and I click here and I said Apple. I write Apple and I click on submit. You see, as I click, if you notice very well, let me refresh again, see what happened. If I click A, see what happened. It prints out my event. If I click P, it prints out my event. P, it keeps printing out event at every stroke on the keyboard, which is beautiful. But I want to see the value that I'm typing in here. I want to see it in my console. All I need to do is just event.target.value. That's all. That will give me exactly what I type here. See, A P P L E. You see, giving me everything here. You see, so that is good. We've achieved the first thing. So what we're going to do is that if you notice very well, when you are working on a form or an input, the system does something okay, though we are not working on a form here, but it's always good to write this. But in this case, we really don't need it. We really don't need, but just make an habit of doing that. That way, because if you're working on a form, you have to write this. Otherwise, your form will keep behaving in its natural, normal way, which is what was, is to keep going back to default, and you won't be able to catch your value that you want to catch, the input you want to catch. You won't be able to catch it. So this line of code is very, very important. What I always love to do is just, even though I'm not going to use it, I always love to put it there. Then it's going to help my muscle memory, So that is it. So what we want to do here actually is to keep this in a particular state. So we're going to create something called state here. We're going to create something called state. And we're going to say const. For you to create state, this is the way to write it. You write, and we will say, let's say tweet, because we're working on tweet, right? Message. And this other function is what updates the tweet message, and it's called set tweet message, and it's going to be equal to a use state. Yeah, use state is I'm going to set that to empty string. Use state is actually one of the React hooks. Okay, it's actually one of the React hooks, and it's very, very powerful. Instead of you writing, because we are working on functional component here, we don't. So this is always good. It's good. I mean, you can easily use React hooks here, but if you are working on class-based component or class-based component, yeah, it's difficult to use hooks right there. It's not compatible, I guess, with class-based component, but with functional component, oh, beautiful! It's so good. So now we're gonna use these parameters now here. So what we're gonna say here is that when you do that, please do something. Set my tweet message to the new tweet that just came in, which is what? Set tweet message. Set tweet message, and I want you to set my tweet message to what? Guess what? Oh, okay, okay. I don't have a live audience, so I'm just going to answer it myself. So you're going to set it to e.target. What's going on with my keyboard? e.target.value. That way, it's going to set it right there. So now, look at what's going to happen. If I console log my tweet message here, guys, see what it's going to give us in the console. Just watch. Now it's giving us empty string, because there's nothing. Remember that we set it already here to what? To empty string here. So that's why it's giving us empty string here. But the moment I type, let's say Apple, you see? It's giving us right there and there. That's perfect. That means our app is working. So we've been able to achieve that. And again, it's setting this back to empty string. So I'm going to comment this out for your reference. So that is achieved. So perfect. We've been able to get that value. But now let's go back to our input, and we'll now save that value that we've just gotten. We'll save it here in our value content. Like input value. So beautiful. So if I say now, I want to please, okay, let's try something. Okay, this is beautiful. You see? Okay, no. Let me do it this way. I want to see what this is going to give me now in my console. Maybe it's going to split it out, or it's going to give me in one word. So if I click Apple, okay, it's still doing that. So anyway, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. So let's move forward. We've been able to achieve that. We're going to do this exactly the same thing, but in this case, I'm going to do an inline. I'm going to do an inline coding right here. I'm going to say on change, please do this. On change, please do this. Do this. And set. Okay, we also need to create a state for the image. Just the same process, nothing, not there's not much different. It's just the same, just change the name, and that's all. That's all you need right there. And you use that functionality here. Yeah, it's throwing, yeah, it's just saying that this set thing is what is throwing that error. So it's gonna be rectified now. Set image, or set tweet image rather. Set tweet image. And we're gonna set it to what? To tweet image right here. I'm gonna set it here. So that's simple. Set tweet image, sorry, to event.target event, oh sorry, or target dot value of that input. So now we're gonna set our value. We're gonna set our value to what? To tweet image. And that's all. That's all we need right there. So that is brilliant. So we've achieved that first task. So now all we need to do now is to go to, now we want to say once we put in something here or both, and we click this button, we want to carry out what is called undo submit. And we can send tweets, you can call it whatever we want to call. So right here, I'm going to target this button, and I'm going to set to this button that when you hear a click, you listen for a click, and when you hear a click, please do this. And I say on click, please carry out this information, or sorry, carry out this function, which is what, let's call it send tweet. So I'm going to write this function out now. I'm going to write it out here, here, and I says const, and I write the ex6. So what do I want this to do? What do I want this to do? Yeah, I'm going to write my line of codes here. To start with, let's prevent this one. Let's prevent the default behavior. Let's prevent the default behavior. We can call this anything, this parameter, this argument here, we can call it anything. You can call it error, you can call it apple, you can call it banana, but just make sure that when you're calling, whatever you're calling it is what you're going to call it here, and it's what you're going to call it when you say events dot, basically the normal way of naming it, normal nomenclature is always use e, or you write it in full events. So that being said, so we go straight to now, what do we want to do on send tweets? Okay, now this is where we push the data to our database, right? So this is when we're going to be talking about much about the database. So what I want to do right now is to create the database now. You know, we need to create a database. We need to create in our application. We need to create a database, and we're going to call it. I'm going to create a new file here, and I'm going to call it Firebase.js. And listen, guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go back to our Firebase tweets. I already created it here, but I can do one more thing. I can do one thing again. I can. That keeps stripping. Let me put it here. I can do something here. I can create. I want to show you how I go to this page on my Firebase. So I can. What I'm going to do is I'm trying to see if I can delete this one. I can delete this one. Okay, delete project. I can delete. So if I delete, disable all Firebase service now. Disable all Google. Disable this project from Firebase and Google Cloud Console. Yeah, project owner can restore this project within 30. No, I don't want that. Let me just do this. Oh, okay, let's just do it. We really don't need that, so we can always create it again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go straight to here. I'm going to go to create add new project. I'm going to call it tweet db, and I'm going to press continue, and I'm going to also enable my Google Analytics for this project. I'm going to do that. I'm going to, yeah, Firebase, you have to create an account. Basically, it's not going to require you to make any payment, but it's going to require you to use your credit card. It's fine. Don't be worried about anything. It's not going to ask you to make any payment until you started handling millions of data. That is when payment required, because now you're using their platform to host your data, and yeah, some money will be involved. So when you're doing a big project for big companies, that is when you can, they can subscribe for that. So here I already have an account, which is this. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to move forward. It's going to create my project for me. So once that project is created, then I can now do one or two things in the process. So I'm going to show you guys how everything is going to be set out. So let's wait for that to finish up. So once it finish up, we're going to do the next step, and like that, boom, it's done. So we're going to go continue. So now what I'm going to do is that it has created it. I'm going to click this web button right here. So when you click it, it's going to ask you, just write again tweet DB, and also mark that Firebase hosting in case you want to host it on Firebase. So you can click that, so that gives you the opportunity or that avenue to do that. So we'll move straight to this next step. Okay, fine. This is for SDK. Well, this is not what we actually need. So we'll go to next. So you're gonna do all these instructions. You have to install Firebase tools for you to be able to use it in your application. But when you want to deploy, this is when you need all these commands to run them in your terminal. So when we go here, just go to, we don't actually need this page now, so let's go to Firestore. So when we go to Firestore, we create database. So let's just use start in text mode. I will go here. So we'll leave everything here, we'll leave it the same way it is, just enable. So when we click enable, so it goes and it is providing the cloud Firebase for us. There's a particular code we need right there. Without that code, we won't be able to connect to the Firebase DB. So once we have that code in our application, it's going to realize that code, and boom, immediately we're going to, oh, okay, it didn't take me there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to return database. Let's see, maybe that's where it is. Create database. Okay, I think it's rules. Is it backup? Where is that? Okay guys, sorry about that pause. So when we go to our TweetDB, we'll go to this one that we already created. So what we need to do, we need to go to project settings. So when we go to the project settings, we'll go straight to, we go straight to config. This is what we need. This is the code that we need to run this app on this to run this database on our application. So perfect, we're done now. So we just go to Firestore here. So here we have our composition. So but before then, let's just stop right there, and we'll come here. We now paste everything here. Perfect. Now it's telling you that Firebase is not is assigned a value but never used. It's okay. So we're gonna write this code now to export it so that we can be able to use it in our code. So we say const fire. It's gonna shout. Your application is gonna shout right now because Firebase is not installed, which we are still gonna install, which we are still going to install. Hold on, I'm trying to check out something here. Okay, so which we're still gonna install. So we're gonna say Firebase. Guys, you need to be careful when you're writing this code because you don't want to make any typo error, because then it can throw off your application and you just realize that why is my database not connecting to my front end. I mean, you won't just know that there were some typo error you made which is not making your application work effectively as it should work. So that line is done. So what we did here is we set Firebase app. Okay, now let's just rectify the issue so that we know that we are clear on this. So we're going to go to our terminal, and I'm going to go to the second batch, okay, which is this, and I'm going to say npm install Firebase. That's just what we need to do right there. So now we are installing Firebase, which is Firebase. This one is not the local Firebase which we have in our app.js or when we have in our application. No, this is the real-time Firebase. So we are installing Firebase, the whole Firebase itself, in our application, so that we can make use of that their functionality in our app. Otherwise, you're going to be having this error, which is this saying that Firebase is going to say is a global name from which all Firebase services are accessed, but it's not installed yet. See, it's not defined. So that means we need to install it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So now we've already run the terminal. So we have to go up here and say import. We have to say import Firebase from the real Firebase, not the local Firebase we have in our app. So that way, that is done. So I'm wondering why it's still showing. Okay, let's go to our app and see what's going on. Oh, not this one. This one. Okay, so let's go back to Firebase. Import Firebase from Firebase. Oh, okay, I see. Sorry, this is the type of error. So that clears it up. So now we keep going. And we now say, no, this is what this line of code, this number 69 of code is saying is that we are creating this Firebase app to use in our application, to use in our database. But now you see how it's going to be used. So we are creating that Firebase, and we're saying that it's equal to the Firebase, which is this, because we are using these services now from here. So we are using this services now, and we're saying, okay, this is how we're going to use it. We're going to import it first, and now that we've imported it, this is the handle that we're going to be using to call whatever we want to use in that Firebase system. So we say Firebase.initialize application, and we initialize this code. You see, this old code is what we have here in just one word. See, so after which we go back to the next line and we'll say const db equals this Firebase application, just this one right here, bring it down here, equals that one dot firestore. Actually, guys, you really don't need to understand this, but if you can just understand the code and how it works, perfect. That is good for you. So now that we have that, we have to export our DB, which is exactly what we need here, because we're going to have to say export by default, as a default DB, and that's it. That is being set. You're good to go with Firebase now. You can call in Firebase from anywhere, and it's going to work perfectly well for you. So we've established that we have a backend, a database that is helping us save our data. So now we can push things into our database. So now, boom, this is it here. So we're going to say, once you click on that tweet button, which is this one here, once you click on this button, this is what, now the reason why you have this effect on this tweet is because I used button from Material UI, and it has this variant outline, and because it's a component, right, that is why you have this effect. It's being styled. Anyway, that's not the topic for today, so let's just move on. So we're not going to say, okay, to start we need to import DB from Firebase, from our local Firebase in our application, which is from here, because you know that we have it here, we have the DB here. We have to import it from this liquid database. We have to say import DB from our local Firebase. That's it. So you're good to go. So once you have that set, so we're going to come here. We're going to say something. Say db dot collection. Now you're going to be very careful here also not to mix out any spelling. db dot collection, and the collection is doing what? It's going to, now hold on guys, we haven't created this in our Firebase, so let's create it now. So we're going to have here, you see collections. So we're going to start our collection, and we're going to name our collection posts, and that's all we need there. So once we name our collection posts, we go to next, and I'm going to write all our posts now. Click this auto ID. It's going to generate ID for each post, so just to distinctively differentiate the post. So we're going to say the first thing here is going to be the field, and the field is going to be okay. Watch it how you have what we need. If you go back to your application, which is this one, it's saying the first thing is here is text, right? And the second is image, right? So we go to Firebase and we'll say the first thing here is going to be text and it's going to be string. Okay, so but to start with, we can actually do a demo of how it is just to see what we're going to expect before anyways. Maybe we should just I'm thinking, should we even do an hard code first, a hard code, and see, so that we'll be able to have a structure of how it's going to look like. Okay, maybe we should do a hard code first. So we're going to do something now. We're going to do a hard code. Let's do a hard code so we can see something here before we even try to use the database. So here we're going to say hold on guys, just hold on, I'm trying to do something. Okay guys, let's just continue with creating this. Let's create a data in our database and push it to our app. So we're going to say text here. Let's just say the value is going to be, since it's a string, we're going to say I want to read. Now let's just call it that way. So let's leave that and I'll say save. When we save it. Also, okay, maybe we should do something, babe. But let's do something. Let's add another category. Let's add another field. I will call this image. Let's just pull out any image from the internet. Let's just say read image GIF. So let's just pull an image out and let's say let's use this one and let's see how that animates, which is nice. So we're going to copy URL location. I'm going to go back to our app on this place and we're going to say, okay, give me that here. Now let's say we update. So we have two things in our post. Now we have two properties, which is image and text. Beautiful, wonderful. So how do we pull these into our application? I'm going to show you guys that now, guys. So we're going to say, you know that in our app, this is already the created one. In our app, we have here, we want to display everything here. So we're going to say, we're going to create a underneath the button, we're going to create, sorry, after the feed, we're going to create a component rather, which is called tweets. We're going to create a composition which is called tweets now. So this is going to be what we're going to have. It's going to say, okay, our tweet is not the we didn't have tweets, so why you bring, you know, the app is crying. If I save now, it's going to cry that there's no tweets. So why are we having tweets? You know, it's going to cry that there's no. So why are we having tweets? You see, it's crying. So we have to create that. Oh, sorry. So we have to create that. So I think I already created it. I don't want to go through the, you know, I think I have a video that explains props drilling and props and how to create components and props. So we're not going to go into that today. We're going to show how to use Firebase database to pull out data into our application. So it's already created. So I'm going to import that straight into my, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So I have it now. So this is good. So now if I save, I should be fine on my yeah, I should be fine. So it's saying Firebase web bar. Okay, Firebase is saying const Firebase initialize is not a function. Okay, let's see why that is happening. Initialize app is saying it's not a function. Why is initialize, but we have Firebase in our we've already installed Firebase, so why is it giving us this error? Okay, maybe we need to do a Firebase login. Okay, npm Firebase login. I want to believe this is the issue. I want to believe this is the issue. Do you mean okay, what's going on here? npm Firebase login. Do you mean this? So why is it giving me this error? Hold on guys, we need to see what's going on here. So what I want to do is basically just show npm Firebase. But why is it not showing that? I'm trying to log in into my Firebase and it's giving me all this error. Let's just see what's going on here. npm Firebase login. Yeah, that is what I did. So why is it not showing me? Okay, let's just so it's saying initialize app is not a function. That is line 16. Firebase app. Firebase.initialize app. Okay, something is going on here. We need to solve. Okay guys, you know I told you that when you're typing all these things, you need, and I'm going to say it again, you need to be very, very careful. Okay, the reason why I'm having this error here right now is just because I omitted hi here, and that is just it. If I press save, it's going to be perfect. You see, just that little hi cost me that. Okay, now, so I'm rendering my tweet now, which is this. You can see now because I already pulled it in my app.js and I'm having my tweet there. But this is not just only tweet I want to render what I have in my database. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write a line of code to pull out what I have in my database and use it. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say posts, all my posts in my database, map through all these posts and give me posts, return to me on every post, return to me this. So what am I returning? I'm returning, boom, I'm returning this component. And watch guys, I'm going to now pass my text and image into this component, which I'm now going to render in that component, which is text will be equals to what? Post.text. Remember guys, it's posts. We are bringing in posts. Why do I have this? Posts. So you are bringing in all the posts now, right? So, but we need to in every component, tweet component, you know, we want to have each post.text and post.image. So my image will be this. It will be posts singular dot image. Watch guys, what's going to happen now? Watch it. So that is all we need. And with a save, if everything is good, we should have. So it's saying post now. Post is not defined. So how do we define post? Remember guys that we have not even imported our database, our all the data. We've not write the code to import it. So what do we need to do here? We need to use something called see, post is not defined. We need to use something called use effects. Use effect is going to run once. It runs once this application load, it runs. So once there's a change in my post, it runs. You understand? So it runs on when you load the app, it's going to run. So we're going to write that functionality right here. We're going to say use effects, and we're going to say it's a function, right? We're going to call the function. We're going to write this function inside of that function. We're going to write the callback function inside of it. And this is what we want it to do. We want it to simply do what? Database, since we already declared our database of the import database from Firebase. So database, no, this is not what I want. db dot collection. Now guys, be careful when you're writing this so that you don't make any error like I did the other time. Collection, and we're going to say post. We're going to say post. Yeah, and we're going to say, what do we want to do on snapshots? Snapshot is basically asking for the present. Hold on, let me just finish writing because before I say snap, so I don't make any mistakes. Snapshot. So this is what this line of code is saying. It said, go to my DB, the collection of my DB, which is post. And on that post, on every snapshot means that the present state of that post, give it to me the way it is. That is what a snapshot function is doing right here. We said on snapshot, so give me the snapshot. Give me the snapshot. So in this snapshot, I want you to return to me set posts. But we have not created this set posts. Okay, guys, we haven't. It's a state that we need to create also, because once we click our tweets, we want to save that all the posts that we're having in an array, So what we are saying now is that we want to use this use effect to update our posts because we are calling it because when we submit this tweet, it goes to our database and we want to call it on our application, right? That's why we have this line of code. So it's that simple. So after which you're going to say set post. But now, since we have not created our set post, oh shoot. So since we're going to come here and create a state, you're going to say const posts and set posts, just like that. And we're going to say equals to use states and empty array. It's going to be an empty array. So that is it. When we save, it's going to freak out, but never mind. So let's just go ahead with our post. So set post. What are we setting the post to now? We are saying when you load, this is what we want you to do. We want you to set the post now. Use what is in our database to update our post array. So down, this is what's going to. It's going to say snapshot dot doc dot map the doc. So when you map the doc, to every doc, please return doc dot data. That's all. That is all we need. Now I think our application should be good now. So I'm going to say use effect here because we've not defined it. We have to import it also. It's still saying, is this still saying post is not defined? Post is not defined. Okay, I use a capital letter. That's the reason why. Sorry, guys. So sorry. So let's see. Okay, it's in line 24 that we have. It's saying that it's saying webpack module default on snapshot is not defined. So on snapshots, It's not defined. Okay. Why? We don't need to define snapshot. Oh shoot, guys! You see, typo errors can just mess up your code. Like typo errors can just mess up your code. Anyway, we're getting there. So it's saying that on snapshot is still not defined. So let me look at it again. DB use effects. I said db.collection. Take all my posts on snapshots. Snapshots now. Return set posts. Snapshot.doc.map. Return data. So now, okay, now I understand. The reason is because we are not telling him, because when you're using use effects, guys, you have to tell him when it should run. If you don't tell him, if you don't tell it when it should run, it's going to throw an error. So, which is saying that on this part, use effect takes two parameters. It takes a return function, a callback function, and it takes another parameters. But in this state, it's going to be empty array. Why? It's because our post is empty. So not run. I want you to run it at every post when it changes. When our post changes, I want you to run this line of code. And I hope it doesn't throw an error. It's still throwing us an error. Okay, let's just keep debugging. It's saying on snapshots is not a function. Okay, let me just try. Okay, you know what? This line of codes are not giving me any error. What is giving me error is my spellings. It's just my spelling. Snap, that is it. And it's telling me here that sharp short is not a function. Simple. You see, that is why sometimes I always like to copy and paste. Okay, guys, now we have our database functioning. You know that here, this is what we have here. I want to read now. And now look at it. We have it here. Boom, right? So I'm going to show you the power of how to pass here. We'll move it to our database, and from database to our application in a real-time database functionality without any routing, without any loading, without any delay. Now let's get to that. We already started it here, and we started, but we didn't complete it here. So I'm going to be very careful this time around so I don't make any mistake again. I'll be making too much mistake here, so I need to reduce my level of making mistakes. Anyway, it's normal thing for you to make mistakes, but the good thing about making mistakes is that when you make a mistake, always learn how to correct the mistake. Know where the mistake is hard, and try to find out what is causing it and correct it. I'd like to remind you guys, it is not about failure, it's about feedback. Okay, as a programmer, as a young programmer, whatever stage that you are bound to make mistakes. But what you do when you make that mistake is all that matters. Do you back down, or do you stand up and get going and never give up? Are you the type of person that always push forward and you never relent on your efforts? If you're that kind of person, you're going to succeed. Otherwise, you're just going to chicken out. So let's go ahead, guys. So when you click on the tweet button, what do I want you to do? Please set prevent default, which is perfect. And in my database, add this content to my database. So in my post array on my database, please do this. In my post array, I want you to do something. I want you to, on snapshot, again, on snapshots, okay, so I don't miss the spelling. On snapshots, please, to every run a snapshot. To every snapshot, what do I want you to do? Return to me set a post. Okay, so set posts. We are calling set post now because we are using, remember guys, I told you that we're going to use this line of code, this block of codes rather, to update our post at every time we have an input. So do a set post function, run this function and set it to what? Set it to snapshot dot document docs dot hold on, no, that can be. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm only no guys. I am misleading you guys. So sorry. I think I'm doing something else. So when you get to that db dot collection, what I want you to do is very simple. Go to my post array and add this content. So it's going to be dot add. Simple. Add this array. Just add this content. And what do I want you to add? Please add this line, add this object. What is the object? Text. So what are you going to add to this text? That is the new tweet, have you? That is tweet message. Tweet message, right? An image, right? Don't forget you have image too. And what you're adding, tweet image. Simple. That is all I want you to do there. Just that simple. And we're going to test it now. We're going to see if it's working. But before that, listen guys, we have to set our inputs to empty string, right? So all we need to do is very simple. I think I'm going to copy and paste here. I don't know where this is from. We don't need it. We don't need it at all. So what I'm going to do now is hold on guys, I'm just trying to check. Okay, we're good. What I'm going to do right now is I want to set my tweet to, I'm going to use this to set it. I'm going to say, after you have run this block of code, please do this. Set it to empty string, and set this one to empty string because I want them to go to default. I want it to go to default. So that's simple. So now I'm going to do something, guys. I'm going to put this on the side. I'm going to put it on the side so that you can see what is going on. I'm going to go to my Firebase. I want you to pay attention to this column. Just pay attention to this column, guys. If everything we've done so far works, then we're going to see it here right now. This is where we prove that whatever we've been doing is working. We're going to say, what's for breakfast? And if we do this, let's just say we go online, we get a picture of breakfast. Breakfast. Oh wow, this is nice. So let's use this picture, copy image location. When we come here, we go to Firebase. Now guys, look at what is going to happen once we click these tweets. If everything, like I said, is working perfectly well, we should be able to get a feedback here. Otherwise, then something broke. So we're going to click, boom. Guys, it worked. What's for breakfast, right? And you see on your app, what's for breakfast? You see how you can merge your front end to a database. You put data from your database and you use it. So simple, so nice, but you can get into so many bugs and error if your codes, if you're having issues with spelling your code right. Sometimes I would rather advise you just copy and paste. That way you're not going to go get into troubles with just little error like misspells, because that can be so crazy. What if you have lines of code over lines of code? You have to keep going through every line to just see what you did wrong. That can be tasking. So better still, if you have this code set somewhere or written somewhere, exactly, since you know what you need to do and you know what you need and what you want, just go there, copy, lift that. There's nothing bad in lifting. There's nothing bad in copying codes and reusing codes. Programmers do that a lot. A lot of good, brilliant programmers do that a lot. And if you are still starting, then I would rather advise you type. That way, it's going to build your muscle memories. So that way, you are in tune. You are in tune. You are used and you are used to the structure, to how things are being written. So that way, when you see a line of code, you know what it says. But if you're an expert already, I'll just lift and paste. Since you already know what that line of code is going to do. Basically, I would advise to do that. But if you think, oh wow, let me just copy. It's up to you. It's just based on preferences, right? It's just on preferences. You can choose to copy. You can choose to do whatever you want to do. So I think right now we have a full app running. You know, the only part we didn't cover here is the CSS, you know, the front end. But for the database, we have, if you post anything here, like the day is going, oh, I don't know what's up with my G. I need to change this keyboard. It's going good, you know, and we don't need an image now. Let's just post the tweets. And we go down the line. Okay, now you see here, the day is going good, perfect, you know. So that easy. It's just to show you how you can put. And if you go to the database, you're gonna see it there. See, the day is good. You see, right there. Yeah. So this is perfect. This is so wonderful. You know, I have found to use Firebase database more than anything. You know, I prefer it because of the simplicity and the flexibility. I prefer it over AWS, you know, over some of all those database that are out there in the world right now. Firebase is just so good for me to use. I easily understand Firebase, and I easily find my way around it without any difficulty, you know. It's pretty much easy for me to do. I mean, just so easy. Pretty much easy for me to do, you know. But unlike the other part, it can be so, you know. Okay, now it's updated. So guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Please, if you like this video, like I always say, please, I would love your feedback because I want to get better at what I'm doing. I love to code. I love to try new things, and when I try new things and it works out, it worked rather, I always like to bring it on this platform to just show you guys what I've learned, what I just learned, and how effective it is. You know, and please, if you have any suggestion, please leave it there for me to see, so I can use it to better my next video. And if you have if you like what you saw, and if this resonates with you, and if this solves a problem or two that you have, please click on the thumbs up button. That way I get some likes, and you can also subscribe to make this channel better, because I'm not about to back down. I'm going forward. I'm getting it hard. I'm getting it strong. I'm not going to give up, you know, until everybody in the world knows how to program, because the world is going global. The world is going internet based. The world is going technology based, and a time will come where you have to be a programmer, you know, because it's going vast. People are consuming programming in a very wonderful way right now, and it's trendy. I mean, it's new things are coming up and people are tapping into it. So always remember this: there is no failure whatsoever. No failure. There is no failure. Even if you fail, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean there's a failure. It only means that you need the feedback. You know, there's never a failure but a feedback. You know. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.